Welcome to the WNBF UK Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the WNBF UK Podcast with me, Sarah Glanville, as your host. Today we're here with incredible WNBF UK official tanning team, Sarah and Phil at Muscle Tan UK. Hi guys, how are you both?
Good, thank you.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good. So good to see you guys too. You guys have been the official tan team for the WNBF UK since day one. So I knew we had to have you on the podcast again this year ahead of our first timers and novice championships to talk through all things skin prep and good tan practice. You definitely kept me and the guys right last year, so I know you'll do the same for our first time competitors this year too. So do you want to start off by telling us how you guys got into tanning at bodybuilding shows?
Right. Do you want to crack on with this one? And I'll see how I end up in it.
So when I brought the tan over from Australia, and we saw that there was a bit of a niche in the bodybuilding market for a natural tan that didn't have all chemicals and everything in there. Yeah. So we were first with UK, UP, and the other tanners used to use the solution. Yeah. And then we started getting asked to be the actual tanners for the shows, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, it's what Sarah's probably missed it on is Sarah's been in tanning for over 20 years, right? So she's one of the most proficient people at training people how to do a spray tan. Yeah. Probably in the world, most definitely in Europe. So people have flown in from all over the world to train with her so they get the effective, perfect finish. That passion for excellence, I would say, in tanning lent her to go and find the best products on the planet. The company that Muscle Tan is part of, Black Magic, Sarah reached out to the Australian owners and secured herself with distribution for the UK and Europe. Within that brand, Muscle Tan 6, and obviously the product, well, everybody knows the product speaks for itself. So, yeah. And that got you into sort of the competition world, didn't it? And then my best friend was doing some work with Sarah with regards to marketing the product. We met. Fast forward a few years, and we're married anyway. So, and I've been involved in this world for a lot of years. But it was about sort of establishing it. You know, people knew the brand itself. Muscle Tan's been used in competition bodybuilding for a good 7-8 years now. Yeah, you know,
2015.
Yeah, right from back when I owned the gyms But nobody was really hearing about it. It was being used by the majority of tanners
and federations.
Well, there's the tanners were working with the federations.
Yeah, but it was being used by all the.
But nobody knew who it was. Yeah. And this has always been the myth. It's like what nobody knows what's behind. Yeah. People doing it. So it was about sort of demystifying that for me and making sure that athletes knew what they were putting on themselves, so they knew what to trust. And between us, we keep evolving the brand with that. We've come with working with great partners such as the guys at WNBF themselves. NABA, UK, UP are good friends of ours. That's where that sort of started out. GPO, the list goes on. Yeah. But we're passionate about bodybuilding. We're passionate about making sure that athletes present their hard work on stage the way it needs to be presented. And your tan can easily be forgot, but it's actually your final piece of the puzzle. You know, you get this bit wrong and you can blow 20-24 weeks worth of work out the window, you know. Yeah. But you get it right and you stand out. So that's what we do.
Yeah, and honestly, you guys are the best. Like I've used a couple of different tanners last year, and the colour of the tan and the quality of the tan, you guys really stand out. So
and your white lines and evil.
Yes, for me particularly, I'm glad you remember. I like to say that every time I get my smile lines because they're really bad. Yeah. So That's fantastic, and clearly you're something you're passionate about. It's why you guys have been so successful. How did you get involved with WNBF UK in particular?
It's a really, it's a really random one, because our friend Sarah Parker, Sarah Parker, who's a phenomenal athlete, competed with UK and a judge there as well, and usual discussions, and then things crop up and people were talking about Tan and going such and such.
She's interviewing Steph.
Yeah, well, yeah, she'd been interviewing Steph and said, "Oh, I've heard so and so that's theirs," and all the rest. And we're like, "No, because we supply them," and that was again a big problem. So we sort of, I think we reached out and just went, it's us that we are the brand. It's our brand in the UK and Europe, and if there has to be again fair distribution of revenue that comes out of it for people, and that wasn't happening historically. So let's have a chat. And we didn't think from the get-go, we the first Zoom meeting that Steph and Andrew and Sarah and I did was just, I don't know, they're great friends now. We all share an obvious passion for the sport and a passion for being able to do things at a level that the athletes at the centre of, and it was a match made in heaven, really. And it just kept going from there,
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. So these are fantastic. It's great you guys got involved with them. So let's talk about skin prep and how important that is. So, I mean, I guess you guys can talk me through, how important do you feel skin prep is to a great tan? Do you want to talk through what it is, maybe for people who don't know about it, why it's so important?
Skin prep is extremely important to have a good tan. I mean, to be fair, you natural athletes, a lot of you do have like good skin. So, and obviously that's from eating a well-balanced diet, drinking plenty of water, so therefore you should have good skin at the end of the day. But still, all tan needs to have good prep, and you do need to exfoliate. A myth that for some people always message and say, I've been scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. Don't scrub and scrub. Just a nice gentle exfoliation every other day with one of the puffs or a sponge. It really doesn't matter, because it's still exfoliating on the skin.
Yeah.
The most important things as well is to make sure that you're using a pH balanced shower gel, not Lynx or one of the mint things or anything that's highly perfumed.
Yeah.
Just damages your skin. Never, regardless of the tan, just don't use it. So one of the best ones that you can get is actually just the Aldi kids one.
Yeah.
pH balance. It's like 79p, and well, it doesn't do anything to your tan. It's good for you. It's hypoallergenic, and just as everyday practice anyway. Also, if you are looking after your body correctly, you shouldn't need to put moisturizer on every day. People who say, "Oh, I've got to put my body butter on." It's the body butter that's drying out the skin in the first place, because that's just what it does. Your skin thinks, "Oh, I've got loads of moisture, I'll start drying myself out now."
Yeah.
Vice versa, if somebody has spots and they put products on to dry, it produces oily skin. So that's why you always just need to have a nice, gentle in the middle.
Do you think, obviously, clearly we're looking here going into the first timers events, so I suppose there's a point to be made that don't worry, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Don't oh my god, if I don't get this bit right, it's all going to go wrong. Because actually, that's not always the case when we talk about the levels of skin prep that Sarah. They're clearly good practice is good practice, and it's going to allow for the tan to sit and just sit in a much more balanced, natural way.
Yeah.
Not go. I mean, ours is really good because it's all natural and there's hydrating ingredients in there anyhow. That it won't go horribly patchy or slip or all these other things that can happen with things with nasty drying agents in, which ours doesn't have. So take on board some of it. Don't overthink it. Don't think, ooh, if I've got this bit wrong, everything's going to go wrong. Because that's not the case.
All that would happen if you did do that is your tan might not last as long. It doesn't mean it won't look good on the day. I
think to give an example of, and this goes back to a very good friend of mine, an old training partner of mine who competed recently. And I did a little video for him the day before the shows, just so he didn't get this wrong. And I went, right, don't do anything weird. Don't do anything you've never done before, right? So if you've never used feet, don't use feet. Not today, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you've not, don't raise yourself if, it's something you've not used to doing. Just use some clippers, for example. It's close enough. And he didn't. He just turned up the next day, and he went, I've raised my arms and I've cut myself. And he literally red strips on which again was fixable, but clearly it was sore for him. So again, little things like that you just avoid.
But if you just use like a shower gel like that and a puff, and just as normal every other day, you should just do it anyway, and then that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Don't you know that, don't you?
Well, I'm trying to educate the boys too.
It's the boys. They're the ones that need to listen.
The boys who don't actually care, their tanners just turn out absolutely fine.
Yeah. It's like boys with long eyelashes. Like, we spend all our time trying to have nice eyelashes, and boys just have nice eyelashes.
And they have long glossy hair, and you're like,
how does that happen? So know that we're obviously, the ideal world, everyone is doing a little bit of skin prep and look after their skin anyway. But for those that maybe haven't ever invested in doing any sort of exfoliating or moisturising before, how far out from show should they maybe start doing that sort of stuff for the best results on the day?
Just, do you know what? When you're looking after your body, your skin shows that anyway. Yeah. So literally just go to Aldi and buy that shower gel and buy a puff, and it'll cost you like £2 total for everything, and that's all you need to do. When you
say puff, you mean like one of these exfoliating spongy things?
Yeah, like pink, blue, whatever. Okay. Yeah. or some scrubbing mitts, just don't do it. Yeah. It's hard. The main thing that people need to just be careful of is, one, if you've never waxed before, don't start now.
Yeah.
What will happen, and it happens to every single person on the planet, you have your first wax, you come out in spots, and the hairs start to grow back, because there's 3 stages hair grows, and you're only going to catch it that once, and it's not going to work. So if you're a regular waxer, great. If you're not, then don't. Also, it does say in a lot of people's like prep, 48 hours before for a wax, no, a week before, because what can happen, and it might not ever happen normally, is sometimes when the girl waxes you, it'll take off a couple of layers of skin and you wouldn't even notice. However, when you come back in the morning, you can see there's red strips all over, and it's just one of those random things that just happen that probably never normally happens.
Yeah.
So shaving, if you shave and you're a girl, you're all good. You can always do a little dry shave in the morning if you need to. There's no problem with that. Men, if you do want to wet shave, then you probably need to start about now and getting your body used to it. Or I totally agree with you that the best thing to do is to just get.
So this is the top tip I share with everyone. Is I struggle with like ingrown hair. It's always have done. It's one of the reasons I don't shave my beard. It's probably for the best. That didn't look over here. But as a what?
I'm just laughing.
True. I'll shave it off if you want. No. There you go. All right, moving on. So when it comes to like the shaving aspects of it, if I was to do my chest or whatever, I end up with all these horrible spotty things that just isn't nice.
Yeah.
A good set of clippers. I mean, these are little Manscaped ones. The man for the men's private areas, which don't cut you or nick you, and they're pretty good, to be fair. Yeah. You can get them. They've got a little guard on them. You can get all the hair you need. And you need somebody else to do the bits that are hard to reach, please. But that's as close as you need to be, right? We don't need to be like down to the bone. Plus, because nobody at a judging table that's 5-10 meters away from you can see that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mr. Hair.
Oh my God, he's Mr. Hair. There you go. That's it. Mark him down. That's not happening. And it's just so much easier to manage and keep on top of.
So you can do that in the morning or the night before.
Perfect. Plus,
have a shower.
If you're razoring your skin, and we're already dehydrating anyway, because we want to be peeled on stage, then we're clearly dragging more moisture out of it. We're also dragging moisture back into that subcutaneous area between the skin and the muscle. What?
Yeah.
I know more about this stuff than I ever wanted to know now. But yeah, so there's things we don't necessarily need to do. So just leave it there, and obviously the better the skin is, the better the tan's going to sit on it, and the better you're going to do.
Brilliant.
There you
go. Those are great tips, and I didn't realise about the clippers. I think that's going to be really eye-opening for some people. That's really cool. Awesome.
Also, let me just put in there, right, Nair, if you've never used Nair before, right, so girls leave it on for the recommended amount of time. Men don't. They leave it on, they burn themselves and all the skin peels off.
Nobody wants burny balls. That's not fun.
So don't use Nair if you've never used it before. And don't leave it on any longer than it suggests.
Yeah, listen to the instructions. They're there for
yes.
I just feel the burn now.
Underarms.
Yeah, anyway.
No thanks. Right, fab. So do you want to talk our listeners through what's involved if they choose Muscle Tan to help them with their show tan? So what's the process like?
So you book your tan via Andrew and Steph to WNBF.
I think it's worth pointing. I mean, with you guys, it's pretty much mandated that you book your tan through the WNBF, and then obviously that comes across to us and we look after it. And I think probably worth pointing out one of the reasons for this, and is that when you are stood on stage, right, and there is 10, 15 of you, and there is continuity of colour, right, the one thing you're not looking at is the physique of the person stood on that stage.
Yeah.
And we see it with other federations, and we see it ourselves, some guys who work on, as a judge, you want to be able to just go, right, let's look at those physiques, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and move it around like that. And that's what you're going to get. The amount of times, and again, I will go back to the first time we showed last year, I think we covered 95% of the athletes on stage that day, and well, we were chatting with Firos, who's obviously the phenomenal photographer, works at WNBF. He's a super guy, and he's like, it just looks so much better when we're doing the pictures. You know, it makes my life so easy. And that 5% that didn't, either came to us on the day and said, "Can you please fix this?"
Yeah.
One ran to his hotel, washed off what he had on, so he could come back, and we had to spray him again. Not again, but like
because they just saw the difference, you know. And I get that's the first time, you've never been here before, you know, but like, so again, why would you leave that to chance?
Yeah.
And
also, it's stressful as well, isn't it? If you book in, all you do is you turn up, as you know, you have a chat with everyone, you get to meet everyone's in the same boat, and then it's a nice experience.
It becomes, and again, from a first timer's point of view, it should be part of the athlete experience where you're all together, you're all in the same boat. You know, from the guys, there is some bits, you know, that are not the most comfortable bits in the world, and there are parts that make people nervous. You know, it's all stood around in a sock.
Yeah,
it can be quite daunting, and I have had the guys come to me pre or post show and say, "Look, you've made this so easy and demystifying," that I was and genuinely concerned about what they were doing. Some of the younger athletes as well, because I've been there myself, and it's just weird.
Especially as a first timer, right? You're turning up, and it's just like, right, guys and girls, strip off. Walk into the little booth. Everyone else is naked. Hi, nice to meet everyone. But yeah, you guys definitely make it a comfortable experience.
And as it should be, you know, we're all
and the men have the only accredited male spray tanner in the country for bodybuilding.
Not the title I was after. just for the record.
One you've got.
And it isn't something, isn't something that I would have naturally gravitated to, having owned gyms, been in bodybuilding 20 years. This wasn't the part of the industry I thought, oh, that's the bit I need to do. But I think from what we've done over the few years that Sarah dragged me into this, she said one day she was stuck for a show and she went, "I really need you to help." And I went, "No." A champ.
So the next day we started training.
And anyway, but I think for the guys, just being there and being able to talk bodybuilding and again go through those bits that are a little bit weird, and you're like, it's not weird anymore because we're just having a laugh and they're all blokes, so it's like, it's crack on. I didn't realise how much of a difference it made for some people, and I think that's one of the reasons we get in with it. So yeah, we do have to strip off. There is a lot of us. Everything we do is partitioned off, so there is no cracks. There is no.
No men will walk past women. No women will walk past men. If anyone finds themselves in the wrong place, they'll firstly get told off, and then I'll be like, guide them to where they should go.
It's something we do take it seriously, you know. It's about making sure that it's a secure environment for people, that, and you feel as at home as you can. And it's
because talking to some people, they've not been allowed to compete, or their partner's not wanted them to have a tan because they've been to other shows and men have walked past women and vice versa, or in a tent next to each other, and that's why they've not competed. So, and you're having a treatment at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I do need to have like 4 or 5 of you in there at a time, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get through everyone, because I generally would do everyone individual in their own little room and I'd feel totally comfortable, but it's not, can't do that. But
that's a lot of space.
So but yeah, we're there to make you feel comfortable. We're there to make sure that you're having the proper treatment.
Smoothly, that it's not difficult, that it's fun,
and
it's part of the overall experience of the weekend, and it's the starting point. We're the first people you see.
And we're there all day.
And we're there with the last people to leave as well. So, we get to know the guys and the girls, the athletes in general across all the federations really quite well, which is, again, quite nice, because then when they've got an issue or something, they're comfortable enough to come to us and ask for help. And, it's quite flattering to be able to just say, look, especially as I'm getting on a bit now, and as these first timer type of shows, when you've got people that it's a stressful thing getting up on stage, and just say, look, just take a breath, right? Let's just step back. Nothing's gone wrong. You're all right. It's just part of what we do as a team. As it's not just about putting some tan on you. We're all trained professionals. The application process is easy and straightforward for us, but it's done because Sarah trains everybody, and everybody that works with us has been trained specifically to do this job. It is a fully qualified accreditation in competition spray tanning.
You guys definitely look after everyone, and I think it is because it's like that. You end up seeing you guys like 3 times, right? Because it's the base coat at night, look after it overnight, that's our job, and then we get in the morning and you guys do the top coat and then the glaze before we step on stage. So I feel like you guys end up being a huge part of the day for athletes. Like, I remember chatting to you loads, Sarah, through like both the shows that we did, and it was a lovely experience and really felt like you were a big part of that for me. So you guys give that to everyone, which is great.
I think going back to the original question, because I know I go off on tangents.
All right.
Flip point. I've got ADHD, actually full bore, full spectrum, fully.
Yes. We've covered a lot. It's all right. It's fine. We're using it to our benefit.
The process is, obviously there's a reason we do base tans the day before. So that.
Can we start the first bit then before people get confused?
Sorry.
Yeah. Interrupt.
Disruptor.
So can I just to clarify, because I get messages off people. So you book in with actual WNBF, and then Steph and I share a spreadsheet, and then once you're on that spreadsheet, I'll send you out a big long email that I expect everyone to read word for word, and it tells you everything you need to do on there. And also there's a booking form attached to us. Booking form, it's my treatment record card, but everyone will be like, what does that mean? And it has on there with your allergies or anything like that, because if anyone's allergic, I'll send that to patch test and everything like that. So I need those back off you. Once we've received all those, I'll be sending out times and venue, everything that we're doing. We send that the week before. Now, we only send that the week before because I know enough everyone's booked in at that point. I know how many I've got. I know how many to put in at each time, etc. So that's why we only do that the week before. Then I add everyone into a WhatsApp group, a girls group and a boys group. So that you can ask questions if you want, and it's, you know, girls can ask girly questions, boys just talk about donuts and stuff, to be fair. They don't really say anything else. It's just, and then we get like lists of what people are eating, and then when it comes to show day, the night before, then that's when I'll allow you to go now. But I just wanted people to know the process beforehand, so that you don't think.
There's absolutely no point asking me about a booking, as I don't know.
Also, don't message him about the booking, because I'll never find out about it.
Say, yeah, no problem, and probably forget to tell Sarah. That happened this week. So the simple process is you arrive the day before, and we do our base coats. Base coats are done in 2 layers. It's 2 coats. That's it. The reason we do this is so we have 2 different. Well, muscle tan is a solution, but we have a base coat solution within that run. It's the same. It's the same base as in a brown base, so a little bit thicker than what the top coat is. It doesn't have some of the special shiny shimmery bits that muscle tan top coat's got in it, but it's a little bit like a primer. That's like how I try and describe it. It's like primer of a car, or that first coat of paint on the wall. All we're going to do is get a layer on and a second layer on, and the reason we do that is it allows time for the tan to build up and then develop on you. You know, you walk away looking a lovely brown tan.
It dries out a little bit as well, just a little bit, because we have a natural DHA in there.
Yeah, and you'll again, it develops for the next 8 hours, and then you come to us the next day. It's not washed off. No, don't wash it off ever. And it just gives us something to work. We've got a great base to work from then, and it's so simple at that point. It's like your top coat goes on. Normally, especially with the natural guys, it's a 1 coat process. You're like wash. I mean, unless again skin tone's slightly different. If you are see-through white, and we get a lot of that.
You Scottish lot.
Well, look at me.
We can build it up from there as well. So it's not just like 2 base. The base coats are always 2 coats. That's it. There's no need to do anything else.
Yeah.
On show day, it's whatever's necessary to get you to the right colour. And I say that it's usually 1 coat for most people. 2, or it might be 1 and a little bit here, a little bit there, just to get it to the right balance. It's very lightly layered. That's how the solution's made. You don't lather it on. If you're stood dripping in solution, feeling wet and tacky, then it's been done wrong, quite frankly, and you don't know what you're doing. So it's done in a nice light fashion, and just build it up. And it dries quickly at that point, which means that you're not stood around forever waiting for it to dry, and everything gets moving.
I'm just going to point in at this point, first timers, no underwear after your base tan. So girls, do not arrive in a bra top the next morning or anything, because that's worse to get rid of than if you've weed down your leg.
Yes.
So that's all I'm going to say. Weed down the leg, no problem at all. Where a bra's been, that's a big problem.
Yeah. So I suppose that brings us really nicely on to so how does someone look after their tan then? So obviously no underwear. We're saying try not wee down your leg, but what do people actually need to think about once they've had that base coat on overnight? How do they look after it?
The best thing to do is to go to Primark or something and get the biggest black or dark t-shirt that you can get. Girls, it's great, especially while it's hot as well. And just put that on. Just put that with some flip-flops and off you walk, and that's all you need to do. I remember us having this conversation as well last year. So any bottoms, if it's like a drawstring waist, that is just like the bra top. That's a nightmare to get rid of around the middle there. So just something nice and loose that just pulls on, and then just leave it at that. Some shorts, nothing tight. When I say loose and baggy, if you're a size 6, I mean a size 12. I don't mean an 8.
Think MC Hammer in the 90s.
Yeah.
And if some of you too young to that, Google it. Anyway.
And as well, like last year, it was so warm as well. Like you just needed a t-shirt like that, like a long baggy t-shirt. That was what you needed. Anything else was just too much. It was so warm.
I don't want to think about it. It was so hot, and we had staff dropping left, right. We ended up with
3 of us.
We should normally go 5 at that event, and we ended up with one's always a spare, and we were 1 man down, and then the other person went down on the day of the show, and Sarah, myself, and our amazing Jordan tried to. Well, we did. We got it all done.
I mean, you made it work. It was. You guys were phenomenal.
We ran 3/4 of an hour behind.
Yeah,
that took us about 3 weeks to recover from the show.
I think of mentally recovering from it.
I know you're coming again. You're coming back again this year. Like that's brave.
We've got
6 people.
6. Not a problem. Oh, that was just one of those, wasn't it? That never happens before. But anyway, yeah.
It was really warm. So obviously we urge first timers to go through the official tanners, to go through you guys and get it done properly. As we've mentioned before, it takes the stress out of it on the day. But if someone was to really be passionate about doing their own tan, do you have any tips for them?
Don't do it.
I mean, that's my tip as well. But if someone is set on it,
if it's your first show and you've never done your tan before, don't. Because all it'll do to you, and I really do mean this in the nicest possible way, all it'll do is stress you out. And what happens if you get stressed out? You can come out in hives, you can get anything. Yes.
Talk about the water retention as well, right? The stress that you're...
So, I mean, don't for a first time and just enjoy your show.
It's again, this isn't said from a commercial point of view, by the way. It's said from a point of view of been there, done it, got the t-shirt, right? The last thing you want to be thinking about is, have I got this bit right? It is the final piece of the puzzle. Yeah. Like we know it's not cheap. The cost to do these things are ridiculous. I mean, it's not as much as some federations, but it's like it's not the cheap part to it. But nothing in bodybuilding is cheap to do. Your coach isn't cheap. Your food's not cheap, right? None of it's cheap, right? So don't get to the last bit and skimp and regret it, right? Because we see it time and time and time and time again, and everybody comes to me and goes, "You were right." I was like, "I know. I didn't need to tell." There's if you've never done it before, and I apologise to any coach watching this, guys, I'm not having to go, right? Some of us, I was 20 years ago, still dabbing Dream Tan on my mates, rolling it in, and got to a pretty fine art of it. It's horrible stuff, don't ever use that. And even now with the Pro Tan stuff, you can get there, but it never quite looks right, especially if you're doing it with a sponge on the day. We've got our own range of home application stuff, which we've tried and tested and we know is good, right? And we know it can be done. And we've sent Andrew and other athletes off to the worlds with it, and they've got a great finish. But these are seasoned guys with a lot of experience, Just don't leave it to chance. Not on a first time show. It's not a conversation we should be having, because I know the conversation we'll end up having on the day is that, Phil, can you fix this? Or Sarah, please, can you do something about it? It's not worth it for it, and it will ruin your experience of the whole thing.
And the one thing that probably is the most likely to happen is it'll be a girl who's really good at applying her own tan, and that's fine. But what tends to happen with those girls is that they think that they can just use a dark tan of what they've had. It won't make you dark enough for stage, so it's not stand out for all wrong reasons. Because the competition tans especially made so that when the light hits you, that it keeps its colour, whereas a normal mousse, it might be dark, but it's not designed to do that. So, but if somebody's going off to another country and they want to do their own tan, then obviously we've got
loads of tips for that. we make mousse and all sorts for everyday stuff, and
quite happy to do that on another one. But if you are, and it is your first show, just come and enjoy your first show. just get in with everyone. You'll be in the WhatsApp group, like I say, everyone's talking before they get there, and it's just a nice.
It's again, it massively adds to the experience, and this isn't just from the WNBF. We do things because we like how it works and we like the interaction and all the rest. But the amount of athletes that come up afterwards and just say, this part of it's just made so much more to the whole thing. It's so much more inclusive that, you sort of miss out. It would be a shame to miss out having done the work, going to such a great show. And for anybody who's not been involved with the WNBF or seen the shows that you guys do, they're super. They're well organised. They're great. I mean, a fantastic set of athletes up there. And again, you really want to just go and enjoy what you've done and the work you've put in.
But if there's anybody who maybe are flying in late, or because I know everyone comes from all over, we can send out some solution for you to do your base tan, and then when they come to us in the morning, then we'll just make them the right colour. But as long as we've got that base tan on there, it'll make it easy in the morning. And if they are having that, then I will speak to every single one of them and tell them how to do it correctly so that it'll look great on the day. Because we have loads of people doing it for
it's one of the reasons we brought it.
So.
It's one of the reasons we brought it. We know everybody. Again, the hardest things, especially with again, a lot of women federations, is that getting there the night before to get your base tans done. And it's part of the process for us, but it's tight. It takes up a lot of time. It's quite tiring. It's a long day. So, I mean, that was one of the reasons that we pushed to bring out the base tan solutions and the kits, just to make things more accessible for people, make it easier. They're pretty bomb-proof, to be fair. You can just put them on that, but that was through tried, tested, working practice to get to something that we knew wouldn't let people down. When people turn up on the day, and we can just go, what's this? Bum, 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 and you're on. And I would implore that for more seasoned athletes with a few shows under the belt. That's all right. Okay, I know what I need to do here. Let's work with that.
Awesome. So tip is, don't do your own tan on first timers show. And if it's an international show or you're a seasoned competitor and you are desperate to do your own base coat, or you need to do your own base coat because you can't get there on the day, you guys have got a great home application base coat that you can let people use, let people buy.
I got the wrong one down, but it's like this.
It's like that.
Grey bottle, but with a base tan.
Awesome.
And
Sarah, you'll go through exactly how to apply that with anyone who buys that base coat. Awesome. Okay, cool. Guys, do you have anything else that you want to chat about before we wrap up?
What is there to add, really? I mean, we've covered the mainstay of things. Again, the process of being there, the dignity of getting naked in front of people that you've never seen before.
Ladies, you will be completely naked. Men wear a sock.
Yes. People, that sock is to cover
your private area.
Yes, it's not to go on your foot. Otherwise, I'd give you two.
Please tell me no one has mixed that up before.
Yes, they have. Yes, that's happened. That's happened.
Your soul.
Anyway, that's
happened a few times.
So there's those bits. Don't worry about anything, right? If there's something that you're not sure about when it comes to this aspect of it, or you're worried about, or there's something that's
a skin problem,
something private that you want to discuss in private, away from any forum, you can message us directly. Sarah, it all comes into you anyway, most of it, right? Sarah's a bona fide skincare expert, right? She knows the stuff inside out. So, and we've helped a lot of athletes with things that they were a bit embarrassed about or worried about, and again weren't sure if they'd get the right finish, and we've managed to sort it.
Oh, do you want to say tattoos? So I've had a couple of girls message about having tattoo cover-ups, but WNBF don't mind tattoos. So one of the things what can happen, if it's just a small one that you want covering over, that looks fine. If it's a really big area, it can actually hide your definition, because to cover it over is matte, and you lose some of your definition. So your tattoo looks better because we can.
Yeah, I think one of the first shows I did, or it was, I think, the first show I ever did, Cumbrian Classic, I think it was like 2012 or something, I can't remember. And I'd done, again, it was, the tanning had just come in, one of the girls there did it for me, and I went for a full tattoo cover-up because I've got them everywhere. And you just like washed out condition. Yeah. I mean, I could have been in better condition as well, but I mean, it was like, I was saying I should have won that. I gave that away. That was my own fault. But again, when you look back and you go, right, and it was a cracking job of cover up, nothing wrong with that at all. But it lost the striations in the chest, those shoulders as they were coming through, because you just look that matte finish.
It's foundation at the end of the day, thick foundation, so it covers things over. So don't
just look. You got tattooed. Deal with it.
Yeah. You've chose it, so
that's it. We're stuck with it now, and so we're just going to have to go with what we've done.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
But that's it. We've got how many weeks now? Have we got to the first time we show?
I think it's 6 yesterday, so just over five.
Excited at that point, aren't you?
Excited.
I hope it's not as hot as last year. That was horrible.
Saying that, it wasn't that bad in that room. We were all right because we had the aircon on. And we had...
I gave you all the fans.
Yeah, I feel like the girls' bit was so hot.
Anyway.
Just swaying a little bit, eh?
Right.
Over there, we's jumping on, and me and you're like sweating.
We need some new fans.
We need some more fans. It's a cracking show. We love working with the WNBF. We made some great friends along the way with the team. Runs a great team. Every show with a great team. It's just a joy to work with. We know we get that a lot with the people. That's why we keep doing it, to be honest. Because it's not just sort of driving up and down the country, because that really isn't it. You do these things, and like I say, you meet some great athletes. You meet people along the way, and I'm the worst, because I'm the one that goes, I don't want to do this anymore. I've had enough. For 20 years of being involved in bodybuilding, and then I get there and I'm like, woohoo! We started doing I was going to do this last year, we didn't, but all the gear was. We started doing some backstage interviews with some of the NABBA stuff we've done this year. Yeah. That's been really well received. If people want me to do it, then we'll do it at the WNBF stuff as well.
He likes talking, did you know?
You're really quiet this whole podcast.
I know I've been really quiet today, haven't I? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Steph might rip your arm off for that. She's the girl to speak to.
I will do. And so the feedback has been really nice, actually, because everyone's really enjoyed it. The athletes have really appreciated it and been chasing me to edit them. Which we seem to have a process for now, and we're getting them out quick. So yeah, we'll push on with that, and just looking forward to seeing everyone, I suppose, for that, getting the team together and enjoying the weekend.
Awesome, me too. I'm excited. I'll see you there. Sarah, Phil, thank you both so much for chatting with me today, and thank you all for listening at home. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with episode 10 of the WNBF UK podcast. The next few episodes are going to be geared towards getting everyone ready for our first timers show. So we have a one-to-one chat with Rebecca at Get Flawless, our official glam squad, and also catching up with a few of our judging panel to hear straight from them what they are looking for everyone to bring to stage at first timers. Until then, thank you guys so much again. Thank you to everyone for listening at home. We'll be back in a few weeks. This has been the WNBF UK podcast. Okay.
Check out CNP, our sponsors, and sign up for our events at WNBF UK.com.